Morning, Pyrrho. I've just finished watching your video in response to my video, The Feeling of Agency. And coincidentally, I've just come back from walking the dogs, actually, when I made a follow-up to it, which reiterated some of the points that you laid out there. Actually, you laid out much better than I did. But, yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems that I'm facing, and I recognise there's an inconsistency in what I'm talking about. But I think it's an inconsistency which is thrown up because of the limitations of consciousness, but and I don't, I'd like to solve it, but the inconsistency, which, if I can just try and restate it here, is that if I'm saying that agency is a feeling, and there certainly is a feeling which accompanies agency, the feeling of being in control. If I'm saying it's just a feeling, and there is no material reality to that, there's no real control of doing the job, it's just impersonal forces, then what would be the purpose of that kind of feeling? Because most feelings that we've got presumably serve some kind of a function, an evolutionary function, to drive you towards optimal behaviour and drive you away from negative behaviour. And all of those qualities, as you rightly point out, are completely dependent upon there being choices to make between positive and negative behavioural actions. So yeah, and all those words that you cite, I cite many of them in my video too, to do with purpose, freedom, objectives, choices, all of that kind of stuff. All that language is the language of some degree of free will. I mean, as you rightly say, it could be a very small amount of free will, but it absolutely demands some kind of a choice-making engine at work that is under the control of consciousness. So yeah, it is a problem, and I recognise there's some glitches in the machinery here, but yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that really. But yeah, there's some stuff to think about there. I suppose I'm not as wedded to the idea that the machinery has to be consistent as you are. I think it's never going to be as consistent as I would like, or I don't trust consistency in perhaps the way that you seem to be suggesting I should. I'm not convinced that, for reasons I've said elsewhere, I'm kind of agnostic about the ability of us to construct systems of thought which really map onto the world. And I don't entirely trust totalizing solutions in that way, the solutions that feel intuitively complete. So I can kind of live with a clunky understanding, whilst recognizing that it's going to be, that's just the nature of this kind of Heath Robinson brain that I walk around in, So yeah, so anyway, that's that video. I can't remember what I called that video now. Something like why does agency feel like anything? Something like that. Anyway, have a look if you're interested. But it's basically making the same points that you make. Just one last thing, which is a video you made yesterday or day before, I think, which I looked at last night, in which you mentioned, you say that I think if I get you right, you said I believe in free will. I act as if I believe in free will, and you're absolutely right. I do act as if I believe in free will, and I probably do believe in free will. And if my behaviour is anything to go by, I don't apply doubt and scepticism to every choice I make. I just do the things that you rightly say I do, and that we all do. I suppose what I don't entirely buy into is the validity of my own belief in that. If I choose to think about it, I would say, all right, I know what belief is. Belief is a certain kind of cognitive response to kind of submission to certain authorities, the authority of one's own perceptions, for example, or the authority of one's own ability to collect a collection of ideas into something that looks like an integrated whole. So, or other kind of authorities. So yes, I recognise that my belief, that I do seem to be operating with belief. I just don't put any great store in that belief when I'm not actually using it. If I cognitively step outside of it, I just don't trust it entirely. Thanks very much.